Welcome to the Never Been Promoted podcast and YouTube channel. I'm on a mission to help you cut the time to all the things that are holding you back so you can unleash your entrepreneur. Hey, welcome to Never Been Promoted. I am your host, Thomas Helfrich. We are going to be talking today about monetizing in-person exhibitions. And this is like the conferences, trade shows. It's an interesting topic because we had this thing called COVID. I know some places in the world, you can't say those words without people looking at you. Or, I still like to do this on a plane, by the way. I'll cough and just say, COVID. I love doing it because people look and they flinch a little. And it's the instigator in me. Anyway, has nothing to do with what we're going to talk about today. But people have lost this ability maybe to sell in person. And our guest is Maree-Louise Santarossa, coming from us all the way from the down under, the Oz, Australia. So it's like probably 7 a.m. where she is right now. So she falls asleep. Just be patient. She'll come back. No, not true. She's wide awake, jacked up on coffee. It's awesome to watch this. You're going to hear an Australian accent that is English, just with a cooler sound when she says it. So it's gonna be fun. But this is what she does with her business. And so we're gonna have a conversation around that. Listen, the mission of this is to help you get better at entrepreneurship. And part of that is sometimes figuring out what business you want to go do and how you're going to go do that business. And so we're going to discuss about, how she got started, what her business is all about, how she makes money, how much money you can make. And also, we're going to get into a little bit what she's going to do to help double her revenue. And so we're going to kind of have a go back and forth with that. And hopefully I can give her some really good and or bad advice all at the same time. One shameless plug I try to do is go to neverbeenpromoted.com and, check out some of the assets that are there. But also you can go to youtube.com/@neverbeenpromoted and subscribe. If you're listening, do a review if you can. Be great. All right, enough shameless plugs. We're going to add her to stage. How are you, Maree?
Hi, good day, Thomas. How are you? Hi, listeners.
Good. I got to probably, good day. Did I say it right? Good day.
Yeah, good day.
Good day. All right.
Yeah.
The true or false, Paul Hogan went to jail for tax evasion.
I don't think he's gone to jail, but I think he's in serious trouble.
Still? This is Crocodile Dundee, people. If you're not listening.
He looks like my grandfather, so it's I can't get a bit like, my grandfather's in trouble for tax evasion. I think he's very stubborn. I think he's like, no, I don't want to pay tax.
Wait, are we talking about your grandpa or Paul Hogan?
Paul Hogan.
Okay. I didn't know. I mean, I got to ask because grandpas are stubborn because they're grandpa. I'll be a stubborn, difficult grandpa. I've determined it. But that's a good thing. That means I'm old and I'm still alive, and some child has had a child.
Yeah, and you're cantankerous. Most of them are.
That's good. What part of Sydney? What part of Australia do you live in?
I live in a place called Lismore, which is northern New South Wales. I spent 30 years in Sydney, but I've come home to the country just before COVID hit. And I live close to a place called Byron Bay, where all the celebrities live, like the Hemsworth. Matt Damon has a house there. Who else? There's a whole bunch of them. You see them, they roam the streets.
Wow. So you can just go throw a rock and hit Thor. Look out, he's got a hammer. He can throw that thing anywhere. I've seen it on TV. It's got to be real. That's very cool. I personally, I'm a big fan of Australia. If you guys have never been to Australia, it is worth the cost in the 18-hour flight. It's a lot of fun country. Sydney's absolutely gorgeous. Melbourne's incredible. I've been to not Brisbane. My God, Cairns. So where you can go see the Great Barrier Reef and stuff. So
Oh, yep.
I love that. It was very beautiful. They say something about Cairns. If I'm pronouncing that right, we probably would pronounce it slightly differently, but they say when it rains there, it's like a shower. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. We got off the boat or whatever, the bus from going to Port Douglas to go see the Great Barrier Reef. We're coming back and it's pouring. I'm like, oh my God. You step out, sure enough, it's like 85-degree water. And you could, like, we just walked in. It was so pleasant. It was like, this is so nice. True statement.
Until it steams. And then you want to take all your clothes off.
I mean, it was hot. It was warm. Don't get me wrong. I was like, dang, this is different. This is next level. Absolutely gorgeous. Have you seen a spider eat a bird there? Is that a thing?
Okay, so I have no fear of spiders. I haven't seen a spider eat a bird, but I did have a huntsman the size of my hand living with me, and I used to nurture him, and he lived in my bathroom. And then I had this boyfriend, and I left him alone in my place. I went and did a job somewhere, and I came back and said, "Did you know you had this massive huntsman?" I said, "Oh yes, he lives in the bathtub, underneath the bathtub." And he said to me, "I killed it," and I'm so upset.
Did your boyfriend last a week after that?
No, he was gone.
So isn't Huntsman the one? What's the one where you have to actually call animal control on? There's like a
look, the smaller they are, the worse they are.
But there's a huge one that like you want to get rid of. You actually got to call somebody because it's pretty aggressive.
Yeah, they live more in Queensland, and they are massive. They are probably that size.
That's the bird eater.
And they do.
Like, but look out for your cats. They're gonna take it. And can you imagine that thing back in the okay, we're getting off topic.
Yeah.
All right. So listen, leave it at that. Okay, how about start with this? Start with your name and what it is your business does.
Okay. Well, my name's Maree-Louise Santarossa. People call me Maree. My business is FortyFour Projects. This is the first time I've ever had a website, so and promoted myself. I am a custom stand builder, and I've done that globally for the last over 20 years now. I basically help people deliver their exhibition stands at trade shows.
So for those who know, like, right, when you go to a conference, there's all these booths.
Yep.
We'll get to what you guys do specifically, right, with this, but like there's like lettering and logos and tables and stuff. Are you doing the things that pull over the top from like a design? Like, tell me about where you fit in with that piece of it, because that's part of what you do, because you're teaching people also how to sell in person. And so that it's got to look good, but what parts of that? Because I have questions to follow. So when you say you help them build the stand, can you get into that just a bit?
So I do with custom exhibition. There's different types of trade show booths, exhibition stands. I deal not solely, but I deal with the custom exhibition stands where a client will book a stand space, which is space only. It has nothing on it, and we design and put things in there for the client to sell. Now, I also look after people who are just starting out and doing their first trade shows, and I coach them into how to sell their product better, how to create a great looking stand without a lot of money. And I also hold their hand through all the stress and provide tips and hints on how to deal with the stress, deal with people on site, who you need to go to, and how to negotiate.
I got it. So there's twofold there. One is the established company that needs a very custom thing to do a specific sale or feel. And then you're also on the flip side, startup small business. It's like, hey, I'd like to do a trade show, but I don't know, what the hell I'm doing. What do I need to order, size, print, DPIs, whatever, right? All right.
Absolutely.
And how long you been doing this, and how did you get into this business?
I've been doing it over 20 years now. I'm technically I'm a project manager, so I also do shop fitting. I've also done public art installations. It's a once you're a project manager, you can do different projects, and I've also done tech projects as well. But I started in the sign industry. So if you've ever been to Sydney, you'll see the Coca-Cola sign at King's Cross. You'll see the signage at Sydney Airport and the signage at the Sky Signs in North Sydney. I used to look after that. I used to manage all that. That's how I started in project management. Then I eventually found a job, an ad that said oh, we're looking for a production coordinator, and this is not an event position, but this is in exhibitions. And I thought, oh, this is me, because I like construction. I like to deliver things. So, and that's where I started. And then I've contracted after that first job. I've contracted to a lot of the bigger companies in Australia, and I've also had my own clients as well.
Yeah, and I think you're noticing something, or you noted something there that I'd like to draw out is, and I personally go through this about every quarter. There's a Venn that matters when you're starting a business or trying to do something for yourself.
Yeah.
And usually one of the three things is missing. So I'm teasing it. And you're like, what is it? What is it? All right. One is, do you have a passion for what you do? And I would literally just have a conversation a few minutes ago about this. So one is the passion. You have to have capabilities. I mean, like, you may love it. Like, I love golf, but there's no way in hell I'd ever be a professional golfer. I don't have enough. I'm not good enough. Right. No matter how hard I tried in my youth, I'm just not good enough, but I loved it. So that's out. And the third is, can you make money? Or do people pay for that service today? And, the unicorns have this new thing of, well, no one's ever really done that like that for the money piece. And they have those other two. So for you, you love construction, like building things, you like design, creative, I'd have to guess. Right. And you could do it because you can manage the project, you know how to do it. And then also people do pay money for it. So that becomes something so if you think about starting a business out there, that's where you start. What do I love to do? Can I do it really well? So give you an example. Just I like, not that autobiotic for it, but I have a marketing agency that focuses on LinkedIn. Do we do it well? Yeah. Do I have a high passion for it? I'm getting burnt out a little bit on it, right? But what I do love and I do well, I've told, and you can't argue with me, I'm just going to hang up. I do podcasting well. I do interviewing well.
Yeah.
The answer is yes. Come on.
Yes.
So good at it. All right.
You are very good at it. I've been watching you.
Thank you. I appreciate it, stalker. I have a passion, and I have some capabilities. I'm trying to improve. Right. Every 90 days, we look at our show and we think, like, how can we improve there? And then finally, people do. There's money to be made in it. Right. Like, you can get sponsors. You can help people downstream. Anyway, the point is for you and anybody else listening, pick something you have all three of those in. And if you don't, you probably need to pick something new.
Yeah.
All right. So you got that.
Yeah, I do. And you know what? I've tried to get out. I've tried to get out of this industry. And I tell everyone, oh, this is my last one. I'm not going, and it keeps dragging me back. It keeps dragging me back.
What's the draw? Like, is there a certain point in a job you're like, this is it. It's the last time I'm freaking doing this?
It's because I like working in stressful situations. I like creating. I like solving problems. And when you do exhibition stands, and this is what we do without the client seeing, is solve those problems on site, solve those problems before we get to site, without them knowing. And you can work 16-hour days. You can be on your feet for 16-hour days for 3 days, and working with a team of people, and problems will always come up. Your graphics might have turned out incorrectly. You have to get printed graphics, and you're in another city. I've done jobs on islands where things have happened, and I've had to bodgy things up. So it's stressful, and it's so I just want to lie down and cry. And then at the end of the day, when the client gets on the stand and they go, this is brilliant. I love you, Maree. And then they start selling and you go, oh, I love this job.
So,
but it is really stressful if you like, and it's in and out. So what I really love is that you can do 70 projects through the year, but you know that it's you've got to be at a project at a certain date and time, and you've got to be out of that project at a certain date and time. And that's it's just brilliant. Brilliant.
well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. So there's a benefit of it's not going to linger on forever.
No.
You just got to bust ass, get through it, and do it. You know, and that's how it works, right? Like you get, you get a design, you get an idea, you got to obviously. If I'm misspeaking at all, just like let me know. Like, but the client says we want to do this, we want to do that, and you guys have a negotiation. You give them designs, you create it, you got to ship it, deliver it, all the operations and things that go get that. A lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Especially if shit doesn't show up. Oh my God.
Oh, that's happened to me.
Oh, I'm sure.
Once in my lifetime, a whole stand didn't turn up, and lucky I was in a city where somebody owed me something from my sign days.
And wait. Was this the guy that killed your spider? And he
No.
owed you like something?
No, if it was, I'd never speak to him again. No. Luckily, he was. I used to work with him in Sydney, and he was now the sign guy for my builder in Adelaide. And they had a massive big party on the Saturday night, and we were bumping in the Sunday. And he actually got out of bed drunk and printed me a whole new stand because I didn't have my fabrics, I didn't have any banners or anything. And yeah, he said, I tell you, it was I had to fly. So it's about 2.5 hours to Adelaide from Sydney. That 2.5 hours flight was just a killer. It was just a killer because I didn't know where the stand was. And I thought, what am I going to do? And then I just had to pull it together. Yeah, and that's what you do.
Well, that's part of the work.
The client thanked me. So
that's great. Well, so you have a stressor. So if you're thinking of starting an exhibitions business, you have stress because because you have the defined moment and people are depending on you so much in your reputation and I mean it's all riding on almost every show, right? Like you screw one up,
every show
they fall, looks like shit, doesn't show up, whatever, it's on you.
Yeah, and then you've got your competitors next to you going, I'm going to speak to that client after the show.
And you're doing the same thing. You're like that spider lurking under the toilet. Like
I try not to do that.
I don't know how you keep a spider. I'm going to go back to that. Like I'm just like creep out now. I'm like looking behind me. Like we get these things like they came from Japan. Their spider might be like this big, which is it's called like a little bigger than a silver dollar. And we're all like, whoa. And you guys are like, we have some that are bigger than my face. Shut it, America. All right.
But they're all right. It's the thing is, it's like koalas, right? Koalas, I was talking to one of my friends who is a volunteer at the Friends of the Koalas, right, here in Lismore. And the first day that she went to pick up an injured koala, it ripped her hand open. She had to have microsurgery. These things are the nastiest things. That they look beautiful. They sleep all day. They're very cute.
They got razor sharp fingers.
Oh yeah, they're really bad. Get them angry, and they'll rip you apart. Don't touch them.
You think they look cute and cuddly, and you're like, this thing will murder you slowly. Yeah. It's like a sloth, right?
Kill you now. Well, when they mate, first off they sound like monsters.
When they mate,
they mate,
you gotta do it.
The men really go to town on the women. They really do. It's really bad. And you hear them and they're crying and they're ripping at flesh. Oh, it's really
so if you guys, American women, the American Australia accent, like we were discussing off camera, we both like it. It's a good accent for the countries.
Yeah.
However, if you meet an Australian man and he's like, I'm gonna do you koala style, you might want to run.
Yes, please.
I assume kangaroo style is better. How do we get on this? Okay, let's keep going. Let's come back. All right. So listen. All right, you got to. This is what happens. You get me down in December, I get cheeky. That's what happens. All right. You have a business. It can be stressful. You got a plan. You got a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. But can you make good money doing this? Like, is this something that's like it's like, can you give me a sense
Yeah.
of what the revenue possibilities are?
Okay. So if you have after costs, and you make about a 40% markup.
That's good. That's a great margin.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a really good margin. I mean, even for a services business. So
Yeah.
whatever your number is, right? So like I would have
Mhm.
to guess like a minimum show would be like several thousands of dollars. I mean, like
Yeah.
you
So
wouldn't be doing all that for a couple $100. I mean, like you're doing
yeah,
way more.
100 grand.
Oh, it's easy. Okay, so there's lots of money to be made. So if you can make 40 a show, and give me an idea here. So let's say a 7-day conference, all in travel, clean up, build, stand up, tear down, about 7 days.
7 days. It depends on how much the stand is. So if the stand is the construction of the stand, so I charge around $1,000 a day to be on call at a show. So so that's 7,000 there plus the markup on the actual stand. Say the stand's 50 grand, then you're charging that 40% as well. Plus you're also that includes your accommodation, your travel. That's included in that 50%, 50,000 of that exhibition stand. So it depends on how much the stand is, how long, and how long they want you for. Usually we only stay for install. We don't stay for dismantle. We have a team that dismantles. So it's because we'd probably be doing a few shows within that week.
So, and that's what I'm saying. So there's real money to be made here.
Yeah.
How hard is it to acquire customers then? Is it, I'm assuming there's a lot of money there. So usually there's a lot of competitors. Is it like a good old boy network, or is it something where you can crack in with some
No,
growing?
it's because it's B2B. You have to have a reputation. First off, you have to have a reputation, and you have to be able to market to B2B. So you need to actually pick up the phone and talk to somebody and get through those gatekeepers to speak to the right person. Because I'll give you an example with pharmaceutical. You've got you could have 3 or 4 different product managers that are involved in that exhibition stand, and you need to find that the top product manager or the person that's managing that exhibition stand, and you've got to go through all the weeds to find the right person, and it's hard. It's really hard, and at the moment, especially because of the marketing budget with trade shows, a lot of people are cutting their budgets, so they're not either getting a custom stand or they're not going to certain shows. They're really making they're really cutting their budgets. So it's it goes up and down because of marketing budgets, and it's hard to get in with the right people. But once you're in, look, as I said, this is the first year I've ever had a website, and in the last umpteen years, I've gotten work. So, and that's through referrals, that's through knowing people, and now I want to kind of ramp up and see what I can really do.
Right. I mean, and even where you're at now, I mean, it kind of gets my last kind of section of the questions here is it's like, is, it's in any business, right? That's worth it. You're going to have, it's hard to get new clients. Like you're going to have to really work at it. And I think a lot of people don't realize sometimes how hard it is to build a business, period. And
Yeah.
so if you go into any business thinking, oh, this should be pretty easy, you're really misleading yourself, because it's not only, some people will give you a shot, but I'd also say sometimes you just gotta, you're gonna have to like, just, I mean, get in the grind and go find a chip of it, a corner of it.
Yeah.
Like on a big business like that, you might be like, hey, listen, working for you, can I do your spreads? Can you outsource? Is there a part of your business you like figure out another part of the business you can crack into to get into the community of it? Because you can't come in and say, hey, I'm just going to go build your stages. You've never done it before, right? It's not something that happens. You have to have an angle in. But talk about, you said you want to start scaling. So what I want to go through is like, how are you going to double your business?
Okay, so my goal is to concentrate more on the smaller businesses, like startups, the small businesses that want to go to trade shows or are at trade shows that can't afford custom exhibition stands. What I find is that when I go to site, I constantly have people coming to me on site going, "Oh, look, can you help me with my stand? I've got an issue." And they come and see me, and I'm like, "Okay, I'll come and help you." So always constantly giving out advice. I'm always constantly going out and helping somebody hang their graphics or do a better layout on their stand, and then giving them advice on how to sell and giving them advice on what stand to book next time, because a stand in the back corner is not going to get you seen. Just so what I want to do is coach a little bit more. I had my first coaching session with a gentleman who's just done triple play realty in Atlantic City just recently. So he said to me, that was my first, I've got a first show. And I said, "Okay, let me coach you through this." And at the end, he said, "I can't believe how much goes into this. I would have gone in blind." He said, "People were saying to me, my stand looked great for your first show." He said to me that he understood he needed to go out and speak to people. And he was just so happy that somebody actually helped him take a little bit of the stress away so he could actually go and sell his product.
So let me ask you, so if you're pivoting almost to, it's a completely different business format, right? To
Yeah.
coaching. And so what happens with like a lot of things is you get tired of delivering it. Or you get to a certain revenue point in your life, or, we were like, I don't need more money, or I'm okay making less. It's sustainable and less stressful yourself. Is another way to, like, you just sell and don't go on site? Is that another path?
Yeah. Absolutely. So I'm also doing a digital course for people who want to learn more about trade shows and to be set up properly when they go to a trade show. Look, I'm going to be honest with you, Thomas. I'm half Italian, so I like making money. I like talking about money. I like business, and I don't see myself retiring. I will just keep going and going and going.
Wait, does that have to do with being Italian? Or were you?
Well,
because I feel like Australians are like, "Listen, I'm shutting it down at 40 and just drinking at the pub." Like, is that more like Australian culture, or like why is Italian there have to do with the money piece? I think Australians.
I'm not quite. I think it's a dry. I think well, in actual fact, my parents are both workers. I come from farming stock. I'm probably the first in my in our generation to not be a farmer. My sisters and I, and it's just, my parents still have, they're nearly in their 80s. They still have their garden. They have their chores. They still work. They still work at home, growing things and hobbies and things like that. And I think, and my dad still enjoys the occasional helping out with other people, what he used to do. So it's just, I think it gives you a level of, it gives you purpose and contentment. I think when you've got purpose and contentment, when you've got purpose, you've got contentment. And I think I like helping people. I'm good at doing exhibitions, and I'm good at coaching people because I played a lot of sport when I was a kid, and I used to coach and manage teams. So it's just a thing that I will continually do. Mm-hmm. And the more money I make, the better.
Right. Well, as part of your coaching, are you going to train your replacement to run the company, and you just become the speaker on top of your own stage talking about?
Like, what I would like. I would like to basically hire some staff so I can pass it down, because what I've noticed, especially in Australia, I don't know, and I suppose it's happening across the globe as well, that us old people, old boys, the old school, the OGs as they would call us, we're still, we're getting older, and what I'm finding, the younger ones don't, they'll come to site and they'll go, "Oh, I'm finished for the day." I'm like, "No, no, 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 no. We're here till midnight, mate. We have to deliver this stand. If we don't deliver this stand, we're going to get sued, and the client's not going to the client's not going to be happy."
And you're gonna get a new spider, and when you wake up in that bed that you went to bed to earlier, it's going to be in there with you. So get your ass over there and start working.
That's right.
You got to just put it in terms of, you're like, I'm half Italian. I'm going to have you whacked, right? You get that? You're going to get killed.
No.
You heard it first, right here. Maree-Louise Santarossa planning hits on her employees who don't work hard enough. So good luck with that job interview. That's going to be great. By the way, if you don't show up, you get killed. Welcome aboard. That's what I'm saying. So like so are you a solopreneur? That's like right now, like you build it, do it all yourself. Okay. And so there's some risk in a business like that too, right? Because, you decide to go 1980s mode, go full alcohol with power tools, you might come out with like 2 less fingers, right? So, it's harder to work a screwdriver with less fingers.
So can I tell you?
Yeah, please. Oh, wait, do you have all your fingers before I said that? I don't know.
Got all my fingers.
All 4.
I am a squash player,
Mm-hmm.
and I also black belt in Taekwondo. So in 2003, I was training for my second Dan, but my instructor didn't realize that I was still playing competition squash. And I just couldn't give up squash. I love it. Anyway, I would go and train at, I do, a couple of hours at Taekwondo, and then I'd go and play comp squash. And one night I ruptured my Achilles. Now I was working for myself. This is, I was contracting to someone, and this is before exhibition. So I was doing some project management work, and I ripped my Achilles, and my income went like that. My savings went like that.
Yep.
And it destroyed me financially. It destroyed me physically for a long time. And I said to myself, if I ever get into that position again, I'm going to be insured. So I am so insured up to the hilt that if I rip another Achilles, or if I do any damage to myself, I've got an insurance to back me. So
make sure you don't hurt the same ankle. They're going to deny it.
No, that's right. I know.
So whatever you do, the other ankle's hurt. I don't care if you're limping on the right one. Make sure the doctor writes the left.
No, this is the thing with insurance companies. It's just great. It's across the globe. It's across the globe. They have to be regulated. They've got it. Come on. Anyway, that's another conversation.
Yeah, we could do a whole political campaign on that one. Health insurance would be better if we just didn't have insurance companies, period. Anyway, yeah, we'll leave it at that. We're going to leave it at that but okay, for your own just risking, and if you're thinking of someone like, hey, I could do something like this, you do need, you don't seem like someone who wants a partner. I get that. But at some point, if you could find someone who could execute and you just ran sales and the relationships, I assume that'd be a great next step for model, because then you could sell and just hire people to build stuff, ship it, show up, and, pay them a lot of money to get it done.
Absolutely. Because there's other things in my life that I want to pursue as well. I have a thing for tech. I like workflow. I like to make sure that I'm doing the less keystrokes that I'm doing for a job, the better. So I like to look at solutions. I would love in the future, I'd love to have develop a tech company. I want to pass down what I know. I like to teach people what I know. I think when people say knowledge is power and they hold it back, and I've worked with a lot of people like that. Oh, no. I give. Yep. I talk about money. I talk about business. I talk about my failures, my successes, what I want to do. And, it opens up a conversation with people. And people, and especially young people, when they find out I do trade shows, they go, "Oh, what's that?" And then I tell them, and, there's flying, there's project management, there's a lot of fun times, because it's the same people on site all the time, even overseas. I did a job in Beijing, and there was a couple of guys from Perth that I knew. So, and you have dinner. It's a whole, it's an amazing industry. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And interrupt you, like, but like I love that because it's like, and it's a tight knit community, right? That's also somewhat like, don't screw up though, or we're going to take your business. You know,
Yeah.
but then
Oh,
you can
yeah.
come.
Especially, yeah. Yeah.
Is there a way to is there like another level? Like, is there like a like the private equity version of you that they are like a machine behind this?
Oh, yeah. There's this. The bigger ones have got money. Those bigger companies have money, and because you do need money for construction, because
Well,
your
yeah.
cash flow. Some companies, they'll give you a deposit, but they won't pay you until the end of the show.
Oh, that's
So
all right.
yes, and especially with COVID, so a lot of our builders who used
Well,
to.
that's crazy because every speaker's been prepaid before they're up there.
Mm,
Like a speaker doesn't show up unless they're
yeah,
paid like 30 days in advance, but yet the person that the stage is sitting on gets it after. Ooh,
yeah.
that seems
Oh, it's
broken.
yeah. Yeah, and my favorite ones are the ones that still pay with check, and you're like, I need 40 grand here. You've got to pay. You got to pay, and they're like, oh, but the check's in the mail. Well, you
You can
can.
wire that, right?
That's right. That's
Like
right.
we don't do you like we don't accept checks. You can wire ACH that thing right over.
Yeah,
Yes. Oh my
exactly.
word. Then you're
I
chasing
know.
down.
So
Oh,
in in COVID, a lot of people didn't get all these shows were booked, and a lot of people didn't get their stands. They had their stands created, but they weren't going to pay for their stand because they weren't going to the show. COVID really messed up that exhibition industry really well. A lot of
yeah.
people went under. A lot of people. So it's changed a lot. A lot of the oldies have gone, and there's a lot of new people in, and it's a different climate now. I
I
think it's
mean,
getting a
absolutely.
bit better. I know that I was talking to one of my colleagues in the US yesterday, and he said he's had a massive bumper year, and but here in Australia, it's been really up and down because of our economic climate. But you guys are also in that sort of climate as well. So I think what with the US is that it happens all year round. In Australia, it only happens February to November. It has a
Yeah.
season where I notice right through to in the US, it's there's still shows going on.
And is it like your top, what are the 8 banks there that pretty much make up 90% of the revenue for the country? If you don't have one of those contracts, you're screwed kind of thing.
Oh, they don't spend a lot of money on their
They
stands.
don't
I'm
have
telling
to because everyone wants their business, like, right? It's like
you.
it's such a and if you guys know Australia, like there's like the Power 5 banks or whatever they are,
Mm,
right? Or there's a
that's right.
term for it. The four pillars,
Yes.
whatever. Um, and I've been in every one of them when I was consulting, doing intelligent like AI stuff. I've been
Yeah.
that's when I went to Australia for the second time. But the point being is they are there's a level of arrogance because they are such big companies and they employ so many people and they're like untouchable from an organization standpoint. But they're
They
the
are.
worst to work with because they don't need anything because they have people lined up at the door. So they treat other vendors. So anyway, my point being is, I hope you have different industries besides those.
Oh, yeah. We do. Well, mining is a big one. And so with Australia, it's mining, international students
Oh,
are the
that's a big one.
two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because then you got Perth so do you focus your time when it's out season to, like I would have to guess parts of Asia, right? They're year round, like, Singapore and
Yeah,
other
they
places.
are.
Like, I would think they're like the bigger metropolitans are year round. In Australia, you just kind of focus that and then you're traveling half the year.
Yeah. But Asia is a hard so we've got a few companies that actually bring their stands in from Asia, so it cuts their cost as well. So unlike in the US, where when you're building an exhibition stand over there, you need a certain amount of Americans to be working on that stand. Here, it's not the same. So they can bring in a full stand, a full team from Asia, and it'll cost a third of the price. Where in America, if that they can't do that, they have to hire Americans and hire certain amount of product, buy a certain amount of product over there. So it's it really has shaken up the industry here as well to and bring those budgets down.
I had no idea you had to hire certain Americans to do it. I mean, I know nothing of the industry. It's just that, just know I don't want the stand to fall. I'm on stage. That's my big thing. Or fall on me. That's my 2 requirements. I'm pretty simple. I think it'd be a good client. It didn't fall. It didn't fall on me. All right. I'll send you a check.
Thanks.
Bounce that thing right across there. Come fly to the US to get your rest of it. Okay. So, just conscious of time here. Who do you generally, if anyone, do you want do you want people to come to you for coaching? Who do you want to get a hold of you, and how do you want them to do that?
You can contact me through my website, FortyFourProjects.com. I'm doing a webinar on the 11th of Jan. If you want to get some tips, understand what you should be looking at when you're doing your exhibition stand, you can come to my webinar, join me there, ask me questions, bring a floor plan. I'll tell you exactly where you should be booking your stand for maximum exposure, what you need to do with that stand, and how to sell from that stand. Because, there's things that people need to understand, that it's not just, let's book a stand, let's go there, let's sit down, let's just see what happens. You spend a lot of, just to book a show, you might spend $20,000 for a stand. And if you're not maximizing that stand, what's the point of you being there? Because the key is they're all warm leads and they're your client, they're potential clients, and you should be hunting them down and selling to them, selling your product and services. So if you're sitting on your stand and not selling, you've just wasted your money.
Yeah.
And that's what I do. That's what I want to make sure that everyone knows, that booking a stand is not just about sitting on a stand and going, oh, people are going to come to me. They're not. They're not.
It's best just to jump up and down and scream. No, it's not. Don't do that either. What I find is ineffective is I just don't agree with the free swag stuff unless you say, hey, listen, take one for your kids. The reason is then they're coming up with the idea that I don't feel weird. Like, if you don't have a conversation, it's fine. Like, just if you're taking some cool shit for your kids, here, take it. Because that's who's going to get that stuff.
Yeah. Or it ends up, can I tell you, giveaways end up on the floor. So when I pack up stands, brochures, knick-knack giveaways, those sort of things always end up on the floor or thrown in the bin. It's amazing what people don't take with them. I look at it this way. If you've got a stand and you're say you want to put a coffee machine on your stand, or you want food so people can come and eat and drink at your stand. Is your core business a coffee machine or food or any of those things? Because what do you want to do? You want to feed hungry people and thirsty people? No, you want a lead. And a lot of people have these gimmicks to bring people to the stand, but they're actually not selling.
Yep. I think the most effective one is a giant QR code.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
Like a giant one, like 6 foot by 6 foot or 10 by 10. And so you just scan this and you can be entered in to win some really good shit.
Yeah. And this is the thing. And that's so simple.
Like you can put an iPad and we'll send it to whoever you like. Like, so it might be from you. So it could be to yourself. It could be to your wife. It could be to, I don't care. Right. Those work. Cause then you get email. It's like, of course I'll do that. And now you got somebody's there. Now listen, if you're interested, your chances of winning go higher. But like stuff like that, I agree with you. Like, getting people in just to have conversations is fine. Like, I've seen like they do fine scotches and things like that. Come in, have a drink, and hang out with us and tell us about what you're doing. That sometimes works too, because there's value of like, oh, I like that. Let me try that. I'm like, I don't sell scotch. We're just going to get you drunk a little and get some information from you. But to get your scotch, please scan this QR code regardless. anyway, so that stuff works. The other way, the place it ends up is in the hotel room. You leave the bag there. It's like you're packing up. You're like, I'm gonna rinse the shit. You just leave it.
Yeah. And I was when I did the job in China, my client had all these miniature toys, and the minute you put out anything in China, all the workers come and grab them. So that's just a prime example of people just going, oh, I'm going to take this because it looks good and I can sell it on the street, or I can give it to my child. So giveaways are a little bit iffy. So I would stay away from that. I just make you stand really clean, have a good message there, have a big smile, not be stressed, because that's the killer, because people know, that person really doesn't want to be here.
Yeah, exactly. And get some good looking like me up there, so you get some man meat.
And speaking, yeah, that's right. And speaking gigs at the show. See if we can get a speaking gig at the show. And
yes. Right, so here's my number one rule of a conference. And I just paid for my first conference I'm going to go to, where I'm doing a workshop and I'm going to be on a panel. And it whatever price they gave me, I got them to negotiate to half, because I'm like, it's 30 minutes, right? And you can sell whatever you want. I'm like, that's fine. But the point is, unless you're speaking and you're drawing people to an audience and you have something to sell, don't go. Like, go cheap and just participate and meet. Like, I used to have a rule where I wouldn't actually go to the shows. I would just go to like the pool bar, and all the people who also were there just to get away and hang out. But that was my networking technique, was I'd find people who were just hanging out at the pool bar as well, because we were all there just to network. And then that's where you'd meet the 10 or 15 people that were of value, because everyone else is like, oh, I'm registered. I'm like, I don't care about any of that. Like, I'm here to meet like 10 or 15 people I'm going to connect with. And it always would happen at some kind of pool bar. Now I don't drink anymore, so it makes it more challenging. But anyway, the point is, go with purpose. And I agree with you. If you're not speaking, don't buy a booth.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. And you've got you hit the nail on the head, Thomas. You don't have to exhibit. You can just go and network. You don't have to spend $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 for a booth. Go and network.
But so I didn't do the booth. I just said, let me do a 30-minute workshop on how we monetize a podcast from 0 to 16 a year, right? And they're like, oh, and I'm like, they're like, how do you do that? I'm like in our podcast, I'm like, it's like, so we don't sell a podcast, we sell community, we sell value and promotion. Like I've created a platform and an idea of helping other people, and other people want to help. But like, that's what people want to go do in a podcast. They want to be part of something. They don't want to just talk and leave and go. Anyway, the point is, that's because I actually give a shit about what I'm doing, and a lot of people don't. And like, there's a big difference, because that ties the mission and some other stuff. So that being said, conscious of time, I've blown it. I'm over by a minute. Oh. I was also late a minute. So anyway, Maree, thank you so much. 44 Projects, and that's spelled out, unless you own the 44 Projects, but it's spelled out 44projects.com, correct? Now, people in the U.S. can hire you. You can do this remotely. You can show up for trade shows in the U.S. You can also, do you make this stuff in Australia and then ship it, or could you just come?
I know, I've got builders all over the world.
Yeah. Do you make it on site, like in Australia, and then take it, or could you show up?
Yeah, I've done that before. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you have options. You don't have to just be in Australia, by the way, people.
No, it's a global thing.
I am looking for Maree-Louise Santarossa to start helping my Australian audience be built, because I absolutely want to go to Australia. We're going to talk about, people in conferences, you're going to be my hookup to get on stage talking about cutting the tide of shit holding you back, so you can become great at whatever you're doing. And you're going to build the stage of like, this stage is built by my guests. I didn't pay for it. And I can't afford $100,000. I'm sorry. That's not going to, that check's going to bounce faster than a Super Bowl if I give you that one. Great. Maree, thank you. You're awesome.
Thanks, Thomas. Thanks, listeners.
Right. So I'm sorry. Say again.
Thank you, listeners.
Okay, well, thank you.
US. Take it easy.
It was an Australian accent. That was not Alabama. Okay. Here we go. All right, everybody, go to 44projects.com. Thank you, Maree. I'll be right back with you. I'm going to put you in the periwinkle room. Guys, if this was your first time here, thank you for listening. And guys and men and women, I say guys, just whatever. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for listening. Until we meet again, get out there, go check out Maree's site at 44projects.com. Especially if you have any ideas of, hey, I'd like to build that business, or I'd like to hire her. Check it out. Get time with her. She's very fun, very nice. But until we meet again, I want you to get out there. Wait, we had a comment from Evie Digital. How can Maree-Louise double her revenue? We answered that. Here's my poor technology management. Evie, I think I know who you are, so I'll follow up with you directly. But anyway, thank you guys so much for listening. Until we get out there, till we meet again, go unleash your entrepreneur.